nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up.
Hey guys, welcome to the fourth video of the series JavaScript Simplified from Computing Genie. In this video, we'll be working with multiple JavaScript files. In the last video, we learned about how to add JavaScript code to our file and how to bind a HTML file to a JS file. We also added our first function to our site, the alert function. If you haven't watched that yet, I'd suggest you to go back and have a look into it and get back to this video. Now, assuming you know how to add JavaScript syntax to your project, we'll now be dealing with multiple JavaScript files. Now you may ask, why would we need to work with multiple JS files? It's because more often than not, a web page has multiple pages within it. For example, an e-commerce web page will have multiple pages depending on the category of the product. So having multiple JS files can result in you having a more functional and organized application. So now let's start off by opening up Visual Studio Code. Here you can see where we left off in the last video with our alert function, and now we are going to be adding a second JS file. You can add a second JS file by right-clicking on the side panel and clicking on New File. Once done, you have to type in your file name. For this project, we are going to be naming it as home.js, and we are going to be storing our JavaScript code for our home page in this file. It is really important for you to get your file extensions correctly typed in after the name of your file, so the syntax and the features of the file are correctly matched and functional. Once you have created your file, we are now going to be typing in an alert function, which we learned from the last video, just to see if our file is functioning properly. So we'll type in alert, and in parentheses and in a string, we'll type in second message. I've explained briefly what a string in JavaScript is in the last video, but if you want to learn more about it, I'll drop a link to W3 schools down in the description. Once you have typed out this function, we'll now open up index.html, and here we will be typing in a script binding tag for home.js. Once done, make sure you save both of your files, and let's open up the VS Code terminal by using the shortcut key Ctrl+backtick. Now we'll type in the input code npm run start, and once our web page is loaded up, you can see our first message subscribe from our script.js file, and once you click OK, you can see our second message from our home.js file. Now this shows us that our files are working just fine. Now we'll go back to VS Code and open up home.js. First off, we'll remove our alert function that we added right now. We will now be replacing it with our custom function, which is, if you're being real, a bit complex for this tutorial, so you don't have to worry about it at this point of the course. I'll make sure to cover this later on in future videos. So for now, just pause the video and copy the line of code being displayed, and then continue along with the video. Once you have written down your function, you have now created a custom function named showMessage. So let me now show you how this can be useful for a project. So let's go to index.html and choose the string from the body tag. We are going to be modifying and manipulating this h1 tag from a HTML file with the help of our showMessage function. We can do that by giving our tag an ID, and this ID will be called message, typed in a string, matching our parameters in our custom function. Once we've given it an ID, we can now open script.js, remove the alert function we typed in our last video, and we will be typing in the custom function we created in our second JS file, showMessage. Then, in parentheses, we'll type in via a string a text that is going to modify and change the value written in our h1 tag, which, if you remember, was sup. So the text we'll be typing in is changes for the sake of an example. And we will now save all our files and check our browser to see our made changes, and you can see our string value representing our h1 tag that we accomplished with the help of our two JS files. And that's an example workflow of using two JS files and creating a custom function to take control of our HTML tags via our JS file. In the next video, I'll go through the process of formatting your code properly and in an organized way in Visual Studio Code. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like on the video. If you have any suggestions regarding the content of the video, leave a comment down below. Subscribe to Computing Genie with bell notifications so you'll never miss another tutorial. That's it for now. I'll see you all in the next video.